the messages are amplified and it will reach the widest target audience as possible. So hopefully we have currently, I don't know how many, 40 participants or so. Many more will be able to see it once it's uploaded on our website and on our project YouTube channel. So with this, I'd like to again welcome you, and let's dive directly into it. I will just give you a very quick snapshot about what is our project about. So essentially, we are aiming to address public procurement innovation challenges, especially through the optics of public procurers in cities or municipalities. But of course, the materials, training materials, guidelines that we're generating and producing are to a large extent applicable also to other public procurers, and not only public, but also in private procurers. And how we do it, we're basically promoting the innovation culture, so spreading the really innovative mindset, because we have still let's say less performing regions in Europe where the idea of public procurement of innovation or innovation procurement is really in its embryonic stage, whereas then you have champions from which we can already adapt some lessons learned. But also it's about fostering collaboration among different projects, initiatives in our orbit, and trying to make sure that we build up on already existing and validated pool of resources, ensuring that we're not just again starting something from scratch, but rather already reusing and upgrading existing materials. And of course, the reason why we're here today, we're just launching the series of training programs, among others, because we also have simulation exercises and staff exchanges among public procurers. This is what we will be doing under the tagline of enhancing the PPI capabilities. So that's one of the major 4 objectives that we are aiming to deliver in the build project. Next slide, please, Rika. So, and that's my last slide. What we can actually offer at the present moment? Well, of course, we are CSA action, which is coordination support action. So we're promoting initiatives, events on innovation procurement. We've set up something which is called Innovation Procurement Task Force, where we're exchanging with sister projects and other initiatives, the best practices, events, training materials, resources. And this is all available already on our website. So please check it out, because we believe if you are a practitioner or if you would like to enter this world and educate yourself, you will find plenty of insightful resources. This makes it also bridges me to the second point, which is a Build Insight report, which we published recently. And it's a quite dense and deep analysis of buyers' needs and gaps. We try to look at their world, the world of public procurers, and through also empathetic maps, trying to understand what really they need, what they lack, how they perceive things, and try to put ourselves into their shoes, so we really understand their mindset and their view of the world. To say it figuratively. And we have also built a value proposition. That's something that is more for internal purposes, but it is a public document. So you see also our reasoning, how we put together the resources that are now available and the trainings, and how we actually arrived to the value proposition that we are currently sharing also with you. There will be the series of trainings that are now happening in Estonia, Finland, Slovakia, Netherlands. Some of them will be also hybrid, online. More information about it will be presented later. I already mentioned the staff exchanges, which are going to happen in the upcoming months, and we will have also something which is upgraded training, and we decided to call it final simulation training, where hopefully the participants would be able to not only come home with the theoretical knowledge, but already some first sketches of let's say future tenders, future innovation procurement ideas. So with this, I leave it here, and back to you, Rika. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert, for the briefing of the build project. So as Robert mentioned, this event will be recorded, and you will receive the link to the recording afterwards, and also the material presented, as well as the other case examples that we have not have time. We don't have time to go through today. Then you can go through them afterwards from the material. We ask you to keep your microphones and cameras off until we have some time for questions after each case. We have 3 cases presented in this event by 3 European cities. I hope you make use of the situation by asking questions. And for that reason, we have some time for Q&A after each case. Also, you can ask questions and give comments in the webinar chat that you may find in our Zoom meeting. So we take those questions and comments also. But to start a little, I'm going towards our cases that are the exciting part. I'm asking, and maybe this question was one of the main questions when we were heading towards this project. Is procuring innovations difficult? Is it risky? That was kind of the core where we have started. I think here present today we have cities and procurers that are motivated in procuring innovations, but still it may seem a bit risky, a bit difficult how to approach innovative procurement. However, we need innovations when conventional solutions are no longer sufficient. There may be strategic needs that are new and very complex, and therefore the conventional solutions work no longer. Also, the market can have new solutions to offer that don't fit to the previous tendering, and therefore we need some kind of a new solution or an innovation in the procurement. But also the operational environment changes all the time. So we are not working in a world that is not changing, but it is changing all the time. And we need to see the changes, and we need to foresee the changes also. And that's why when we are procuring complex services, for example, or digital innovations, we need to foresee also what changes may be coming in the future. So innovative procurement starts from understanding and defining what are the strategic goals do we need to pursue? What is the actual need? Sometimes the need that we think we are aiming for is not actually the need. We need to see a bit wider within the city, for example. We need to tie together different needs, whether it's elderly people, whether it's the environment, whether it is financial needs. And we need to understand the needs better. And then after that, we need to also ask, how do we make sure to reach the needed know-how and the stakeholders? Meaning that when we are doing procurement, we need to make sure that we have the best know-how and we have all the stakeholders that are interested in the object of the procurement. And that's why before going forward in the process or in selecting the method, we need to understand who are the parties that are interested in this procurement. And so the methods and the procedure must serve the goal and the needs, and not vice versa. So we need to ask those questions first, and then select the method and the process and make the actual plan. I also took a small one article from the EU directive on public procurement, just as a reminder that the basis of public procurement is that the authorities shall treat economic operators equally and without discrimination, and shall act in a transparent and proportionate manner. And that's kind of the core in the innovative procurement as well. We need to make sure that this article is true in each procurement, but that's the base, and the process and the methods go from this on. And now we are going towards our examples, and I think this is the interesting part of our morning today. So we have 3 case examples from 3 different perspectives, 3 different European cities. And as I said, please do ask questions at our chat. And then hopefully we have a couple of minutes after each case to also open the microphone and ask them directly. But first, with no longer ado, we go forward to the city of Turku, and we have Hedy Meinander from the procurement services in the city of Turku. Are you there, Hedy?
Yes, I am here. I hope you can hear me and see me as well.
Good.
Okay, so hello everybody from a sunny Turku. My name is Hedy Meinander and I work as the project coordinator in the BUILD project on behalf of the procurement services in the city of Turku. And for those of you who may not know, Turku is the 6th biggest town in Finland with just over 200,000 citizens. So I am here to tell you about an innovative procurement that was done by the procurement services in the city of Turku on behalf of the employment services in the city. The Employment Services Center offers help and guidance concerning employment, and the main task of the Employment Services Center is to bring job seeking and working places together. So the Employment Services task is to bring job seeking workers and work to find each other in order to minimize the unemployment rates in the city. So as a background to this issue, I will tell you a bit about the unemployment rates in Finland and in Turku, and why it is important to have services that help connect job seekers and working places. So as some recent fresh data, in November 2023, the unemployment rate in Finland was 10%, while in Turku it stood at 9.4%. The number of unemployed job seekers in Turku was 12,661 in December 2023, compared to 11,785 in the same month the previous year. So it has increased a little bit since the last year. And meanwhile, the gross domestic product in Finland contracted by 0.5 in 2023 and is also projected to contract by 0.2 in 2024. So as many do know, the economic situation is not the best right now. Reducing unemployment in Turku is one of the key goals in the city's strategic vision for the year 2030. The commitment to maintaining an unemployment rate below the national average for major cities demonstrates a dedication to enhancing economic resilience and prosperity. And the procurement strategy in Turku naturally also supports the city's strategy. So reducing the unemployment rate in Turku and in Finland and overall is crucial for several reasons. First of all, a lower unemployment rate signifies a healthier and stronger local economy. And when individuals are employed, they contribute to the economic growth of the region by earning income, paying taxes, and supporting local businesses. And this in turn can positively impact the overall well-being and prosperity of the community. So in order to help job seekers find work cost efficiently, this procurement, in English translated as customer guidance service, a pilot procurement based on outcome was established. And the purpose of the procurement was to find a cost-effective way to provide job-seeking services for the unemployed. And the cost efficiency is created by focusing on the outcome, but more about this a bit later. So we have a problem of an unemployment rate too high in the city. The city strategy is to minimize this rate. And we also want to do this as cost efficiently as possible. What do we do? Could you, Riikka, please take the next slide? Thank you. So the procurement naturally started with a market research. The procurer responsible for this procurement did a smaller market research by simply searching on the internet for companies who provide job-seeking services. And the procurer found a certain company's business idea on a presentation that was found on the internet. And there the idea came from to look for a company that provides job-seeking services, but who will only get paid once it's verified that the unemployed is no longer part of the city's payment share, meaning that the employment was successful. So the procurement services decided to do the procurement as a pilot, where for 1 year, the chosen company will provide employment services for the city of Turku. Meanwhile, the city's own employment services still continued their services. So the pilot idea was here that the procurer selected 2 groups, each consisting of 100 to 150 individuals unemployed for at least 300 days. And one group was the responsibility of the service provider, and the other group remains the responsibility of the client, meaning the employment services in the city of Turku. And after the pilot phase, a comparison will be made to determine which group has performed better in terms of interventions or entering the workforce. The procurement method was the so-called normal open procedure, and the award criteria was chosen in a way that the provider offering the lowest commission percentage got 30 points, and a service description evaluated by an expert panel could get maximum 70 points. So the chosen company got paid for doing their services, but they do get the compensation paid only when the employer has been employed. And at the end of the pilot, a comparison, as earlier mentioned, will be made to determine which group has performed better. And after this pilot, the procurement contract can be extended in duration, meaning that if we are happy with the results of the pilot project. And could I get the next slide, please? Thank you. So the benefits and impacts with this procurement is that it supports sustainable development on both social and economic terms. And more people in the city of Turku will be employed if the procurement is successful. which then results in better physical and mental well-being and also savings in public expenses. And it also drives the service provider, since they only get paid if people are actually hired, and they also get an additional compensation if they are able to hire more people than the city's employment services during the pilot. And this procurement also aims to address companies' labor shortages more efficiently. That was briefly about this case. Thank you for listening, and if you have any questions, just write them in the chat or ask now.
Thank you, Hedy. That was interesting. Do we have a question from someone? We have a couple of minutes time for comments or questions.
I don't see any question right now in the chat. So unless there is some burning question from anyone, maybe we can keep it also towards the end, depending on how do we stand with the time. If you agree, Rika, we could maybe move on to the second case.
Yes, absolutely. That's a good idea. And if you still have some questions, please do use the chat we have. So then we go forward to a very different type of a case. We have Jaanus Tamm from the project manager from the Tartu city government, telling about the mobility as a service solution Tartu was procuring earlier. So Jaanus, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you very much for the introduction. And my name is Jaanus, and I'm coming from Tartu city government and working as a project manager here. So I want to introduce today shortly our procurement on MaaS solution, which is mobility as a service. Hopefully, many of you already know what MaaS does mean, but I will go through very shortly following. We used for procurement competitive dialogue methods. And why at all we wanted to procure the MaaS solution is that mostly every city in Europe are facing with problems with private cars in terms of traffic jams and CO2 emissions, and same in Tartu. And as the city is sprawling quite heavily already during last decade, then the share of private cars is slowly rising every year, and now we are looking at solutions how to make our public transport more attractive, and also how to attract people and to use more shared mobility solutions, and also to walk maybe more and to cycle more. And for this purpose, we created a consortium with our capital city Tallinn, and then decided to have a procurement on mobility as a service. Mobility as a service is in general a platform where is included trip planning, also paying options for trips, and also feedback and communication options. And the idea is to combine different transport services into one service of mobility, and make the trip for users, for commuters, as smooth as possible. Next slide, please. So we had in our procurement 5 companies who wanted to offer MaaS solution for both cities. It was quite a long process, of course, took more than 1 year, and we had 3 negotiation rounds within the procurement to elaborate different options for business cases, for example, and to understand in more precise how companies would like to solve this problem or this task what we have put behind of them, in front of them, and for that procurement we drafted very comprehensive document, of course, and there was quite a lot of technical requirements in terms of platform and functionalities, and also what was maybe the most crucial for us was to find a business model where we can operate such platform without remarkable support from public money. And it was, I think, it's the most crucial part here. And for that, such negotiations are very, very needed to discuss different details, different possibilities, and different understandings, and also to inform companies who are attending procurement possibilities of municipalities to support operations of such platforms and so on. And yeah, after we had different negotiations rounds, there was also in the final end submitted bids from one company, and it shows also that how important are such negotiations to define different questions and different options, and then to get very comprehensive understanding what we are procuring and what are possibilities of companies. So next slide, please. And of course we put a lot of expectations on such platform. We see very big need for this, and we hope very much that the MaaS platform will decrease the usage of private cars, making planning of trip and also tripping in more smooth. We know that there is already in different cities in world used MaaS solutions, but they are mostly supported quite in big portion by municipalities, and our main intention here was also to find the business model without support of municipality. So the process is and was very, very challenging, of course, especially in terms of timing. it took quite a lot of time, and also in terms of findings, this wished and expected good business model. And maybe the third most important learning from the process was that it's very hard to engage private companies into process. I mean that beside of this MaaS operator, there is needed also engagement of companies who are proposing shared mobility services and taxi services and public transport services and so on. And quite often they are not intended and very interested to participate in such activities, and we needed to motivate them sometimes quite heavily. But yeah, but happily we closed this procurement, and as I mentioned also that throughout the negotiations in the final end we got just one bid, one offer, and hopefully we will in the final end get the solution what we want, but without such a comprehensive procedure, I think it's very hard to get good results for procurers and especially in such complicated and technical areas. And despite of those learnings and problems, I strongly recommend to use such a procedure if you have any especially technically challenging tasks to solve. So thank you very much from my side, and wish you a nice day.
Thank you, Jaanus. And this is a good example on the situation that there are complex needs and the need for a new type of a solution that binds those needs together. Thank you. And there's also a question in the chat about whether you know why the other 4 companies did not made a final offer. Have you had feedback from them? Why did they not do that?
Yeah, of course. We got this feedback already in course of negotiations, and basically the main problem for companies was the business model and the fulfill requirements on the business model, and this is why those 4 companies dropped off from the process in the final end, and it is very complicated task. Yes. And of course, what we need to mention here is this is a very costly process also for private companies, as it is a very long process, and this is also might be sometimes the reason why companies may drop off during the process.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that is true, and I think one of the big questions is that how costly actually the bidding process is for the companies, and whether it would be beneficial actually to reimburse some expenses or pay something in order to receive high quality offers. But of course, that's always links to each situation and process. But this is a good case, and we appreciate to receive these learnings, and also the challenges. It's not only benefits, but it's always also some challenges. So I thank you, Jaanus, for those. And then we go forward, since we have a tight schedule. So Simon from Municipality of Rotterdam, are you ready to present your case?
Yes, I'm ready. My name is Simon de Roo, Simon or Simon. Today I want to tell you something about the negotiation procedure that we used when buying zero-emission vehicles, especially big trucks. Well, first of all, why did we want these trucks? Well, because in Rotterdam we have a carbon neutrality target. We have a national goal to reduce CO2 emissions by 55% in 2030. And we want to be completely carbon neutral in 2050. Well, this is a national goal, and Rotterdam committed to this goal. And in order to achieve this goal, we said we need to give the right example. So also apply it to our own vehicles. And that's why when we need new trucks, we look for opportunities to help achieve these carbon neutrality goals. So that means when we want trucks that are powered by electricity or by hydrogen. Well, actually, the situation I'm talking about happened a couple of years ago. The situation now is different, but still, I think it's a good example of how to use this procedure. Because at that time, big trucks that meet the standards of zero emissions were not produced on a big scale, and so they needed to be developed. Now let's move on to the next sheet. First, we started with a market consultation. We did some market research, and the research actually confirmed what we already knew. No supplier could deliver what we wanted, so it needed to be developed. And when something needs to be developed, it's possible to use the negotiation procedure without prior publication. You can use this procedure when products involved are manufactured purely for the purpose of research, experimentation, study, or development. And development is what was happening in our situation. And another term is contracts awarded pursuant to this point shall not include quantity production. So no quantity production. So this article applies very good on our situation at that time, and it made it possible to develop a zero-emission large vehicle together with a supplier or several suppliers. And we didn't have the difficulty of a lengthy procedure like what happens when you use the innovation procedure, the innovation partnership, or the competitive dialogues. Those procedures are a lot more difficult and take a lot more time and more work. Well, the downside of this negotiation procedure is that it can only be used for the development. So when you want to order several items or a quantity, that's not supposed to be used. You're not supposed to use this procedure. Now let's move on to the next sheet, where I show a couple of examples from vehicles that we bought using this procedure. First of all, the hydrogen vacuum cleaner. When batteries can't deliver enough power, hydrogen might be a good alternative. We worked together on this project together with two partners. One was the builder of the hydrogen truck, and the other was responsible for the construction, so the vacuum cleaner on top of the truck. Another example are the electric garbage trucks. We actually did a couple of these procedures for different kinds of garbage trucks. One of them is a collaboration between VDL, HVC, ROVA, CURE, TNO, and the city of Rotterdam. And we also used the DKTI project. and that stands for Demonstration, Climate Technologies and Innovation in Transport. And that is actually a project of the national central government of the Netherlands, and it's to stimulate zero-emission solutions. This project is now actually finished. It finished in 2023, but there was originally a budget available of around 37 million, and we used that for this project. We didn't actually get that money, but the suppliers received that money. But it did make it easier to make these vehicles. Now let's move on to the next sheet. The benefits, image benefits, for example. We shared our knowledge that we experienced in the Big Buyers project. Big Buyers project is a project for large cities in Europe that is funded by the European Commission. And we shared a lot of knowledge and our experience with those cities, and they made use of that information. And the goal of the Big Buyers project is to get more zero emission large vehicles, and that is also similar to our goal. Well, another benefit is that we had good results with the vehicle itself. We learned a lot developing and later on using the vehicle, and we used this information in a new tender. Well, the larger impact occurs when procuring larger quantity. So one vehicle made a little impact, but it made a bigger impact possible because of the one vehicle, several parties followed and started producing and ordering zero emission vehicles. So these one vehicles that we ordered, they actually made a big difference because it turned the market around. Then a couple of learnings. Well, the purchase costs are high, but the costs for the environment on the long run are lower. So that's why we need to continue doing this. Another learning is the market still needs to develop. Yeah, and we used the learnings we experienced in a recent tender. We did a tender of a framework agreement to buy 20 electric waste collection trucks. I think this tender was a success, but it couldn't have been this kind of success if we didn't have this experience earlier on. So I think it worked out very good for us. Conclusion: the negotiation procedure without prior publication is a very good and easy to use procedure to achieve innovation, but it can only be used when something new needs to be developed and when it does not include quantity production. Well, for us, it works very good, and in a similar situation, I would for sure use it again. Thank you for listening. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Simon. This is a good example on a case where sometimes the public sector needs to be active in developing the market, and by having very strong sustainability goals, for example, carbon neutrality goals, it can be a motivation for the decision makers to put an effort to this type of development of market, and then the others can benefit from that because it is no longer something that is not in the market, but it actually is developed. Thank you. This is very interesting. There was a question in the chat for Hedy, but thank you, Hedy. It was already answered. So are there questions for Simon?
Maybe in the meantime, I will just mention that we will be sharing the slide deck that was presented today, but the enriched one with many more use cases, highlighting also some more examples. Thank you very much, Rika. So that we really wanted to make it in a way that you understand the process from the practical point of view, from the practitioners, from the municipalities themselves, and also let's say, transparently outline not only the success stories, but also, frankly, challenges that they faced on the way. So that, as I really liked, Simon, what you mentioned, that without having the prior experience, you would have never achieved the results that you managed to achieve.
Yes.
So I guess that at some point, public procurers should be encouraged and have a courage to make the first step, and maybe this first step will not be as successful, but this will bring us to completely new mindset and experiences that later on will result in a much bigger success in terms of purchasing the real innovation that will meet the objectives, primary objectives. So that was just my little reflection. Thank you.
Yes. Exactly. Thank you, Robert. And as Robert mentioned, we have other cases that we will share with you later after this event. However, we have no time to go through them all, but I hope you go through them yourselves, and you are always, of course, welcome to contact us related to these cases if you need additional information. Some words for as conclusions, and this is a bit more of observations that we have done during these months of going through these case examples. I think something that always has to be mentioned, and it never gets old, is market dialogue and the importance of market dialogue when procuring new solutions. We need to communicate, we need to be in advance, and we need dialogue, not only communication, one-sided communications, but also dialogue. But market dialogue actually can mean several things. So you need to make sure that the methods fit. What is the market situation and readiness? So you need to understand what is also the readiness. Are they ready to offer what you are seeking for? Or do they need some time for development? Or are you actually demanding too much? So you need to find the balance. But also you need to be proportionate related to your needs. So also thinking about the possibilities for the market operators actually to take part of the market dialogue and not be exhausted beforehand by different questions and different events and different parts of the dialogue. So it's a balance. Preliminary market dialogue is very helpful when you need to adjust the planned procurement process. So when you don't know yet what the process will be, do ask the market operators, because they can have suggestions that the public sector might not think of. But in the end, we see that the time and effort in the beginning rewards in the end. If you take your time and put effort in the beginning, you may have more and higher quality offers that are comparable to each other. You have maybe fewer rejected offers so that the offers actually fit. And then you have lower risks of interruption, because then the timetable takes months if you have to start over by when realizing that we were seeking for something that was not there, and you didn't receive offers. So we encourage you to put pressure and effort on market dialogue. But also coming to the my first slide about is it risky, is that of course we have already seen in these three cases there are always challenges in the process and in the tendering. And therefore, beforehand, it is very important that you ask yourself and your team questions so that you know that your risks related to this actual procurement. Is the process and communication equal and transparent? So are everyone involved that need to be involved? Do we know the markets well enough, or should we pay more attention in knowing the market and doing the dialogue? Are we making sure that the bidders have an opportunity to offer the best possible solutions? Or are we restraining them too much? Are we putting them into a too tight of a box so that they actually are not able to offer the best solution? Do the bidders have enough time to be prepared so that we're asking for something complex and then we give them 2 weeks time to prepare? And then are the demands and the criteria in proportion? Are we aiming for something that they cannot answer? And the risks are always high if we don't know the answers to these questions. So, and all in all, if you are uncertain about the risks involved, you may also opt for the procedure that mitigates risks within the procedures and allows for the discussions regarding the procurement risks, such as in negotiation procedures. You can mitigate the risks as you go ahead. This was a short kind of an appetizer for this subject that I find extremely interesting, and I hope you do too. As we said, that there are more cases that you can plunge into, but then there's also upcoming trainings in built countries. These are trainings where we have more time for discussion, more time for cases, more time for reflections, and these are in the respective languages. So if you manage some of these languages, please do come along and join our trainings so that we can learn together a little bit more about innovations and procurement. But now we are towards the end of our time, and I want to ask Robert and other partners of Build Project, do you have any additions or comments at this point? Have I forgotten something?
Thank you very much, Rika. I'm just checking the text, and there were two more questions that came from the audience. Maybe we would like to. We still have a couple minutes to answer them, perhaps.
Absolutely. Good that you mentioned. The second case, I would be interested in understanding what you would see the innovative aspect of the procurement and the result of this.
Yeah, so I guess it's a question for Jaanus. Like, what was the question is like, what was the innovative element of this procedure or the tender? Jaanus, would you like to react quickly?
Is Jaanus still?
Jaanus has left.
Okay, in that case, we'll get back to Valeria via email. But there is one more from Rotterdam for the first case for Hedy. Is there a minimum period of time that a company needs to hire the employer so we can speak of a durable employed citizen?
Yeah.
Hedy, yeah.
Yes, I actually answered in the chat already, but I can answer it now as well. So yes, there is an employment condition that has to be met, and it is around 8 months. I'm not sure about the exact duration, but it's usually around 8 months in Finland.
Perfect, thank you.
Also, maybe I can as Jaanus is not here, I can maybe give reflection. If I understand correctly, the answer, the question on the MaaS case is that when we are talking about innovative procurement, or we are talking about procurement of innovations, we are talking about a lot of things. So whether the process can be innovative, it can be something new, some kind of an innovative tendering. But then also the actual solution that we are procuring can be an innovation itself. And at this case, as a MaaS solution, it is something new and something innovative in the city of Tartu, since there are no existing operator for such thing. So that actually what they are seeking for is the development process for the MaaS solution. So it is not something existing that they are procuring, and that's the innovation angle in that case. And hopefully I understood the question correctly. But as there are no other questions, this hour went past very quickly. I hope you got some insights from our cases and our observations, and please do go into our case examples in the material that you will receive later on. Thank you on my behalf and on behalf of the Build Project team, I guess. I can, from our behalf, thank you for joining us, and good luck with your procurement cases in your respective cities, and have a very nice afternoon.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you also from my side. Take care. Have a great days ahead. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Thank you.